obviously, we've been working over the past year and a half with the folks that are all around me. We realize that we are at the cusp of a boom that is going to happen in this city. We see it within public projects. Airport announced over $1 billion in construction that will be upcoming. PWSA is putting together the plans for $1.2 billion over the next several years, not just to remove the lead, but to create a 21st century water system. Alcosan has talked about $3 billion in construction basically over the next 20 years. That will be a continual project. We have also within the city UPMC talking about $2 billion worth of investment over the next 5 years. Allegheny Health Networks, $1 billion in construction over the next 5 years. Within the city of Pittsburgh itself, our capital budget is pegged at $1.1 billion worth of capital projects, including a public safety campus to be constructed over the course of the next 10 years. So we're talking about in the Bs, we're not talking about stadiums or convention centers. We're talking about that part of it with an additional $3 billion in just downtown of announced development. So we're not fighting for crumbs anymore. It's not like it was when we struggled through the 80s and the 90s and even in the past decade when jobs were scarce and projects were limited. We are now at the days where we have the opportunity to see this economy boom, to be able to bring more people into the building trades, and to make sure that our union halls stay empty as the workers are out and doing the work. But that requires that the city of Pittsburgh leads by example, that the city of Pittsburgh recognizes that when contracts come in, too often they come at a lower cost because of the wages being paid to workers. And we want to create a different example. And we want to use this example to be a part of our large institutions, of our authorities and commissions, and throughout the city with our corporations, of showing that we value the work of people, especially those that are skilled and trained, and that we want to open up that opportunity to everyone. Because here's the secret. We're going to need a heck of a lot more workers. And we're either going to find them in places like Homewood, Hazelwood, and the Hill, or we're going to find them in Ohio, West Virginia, and Maryland. And I'd prefer trying to be able to find people from this city and this region to be able to fill those jobs. So we are here to announce an historic labor agreement between the city of Pittsburgh and our unions on all the projects that we'll be undertaking over the course of the next decade and more, that will allow us to be able to hire union trained workers for projects exceeding $500,000, and creating a higher standard of minority participation in a partnership between those organizations that train our workers in neighborhoods throughout the city and the building trades as well, in order to be able to bring more workers into the workforce. I have so many people to thank, and most of them are standing around me, but two that I really have to give special attention to. Number one is Grant Gitlin. And those who know Grant know that he comes from a labor background. And his father is a steel worker, a leader, and he has put his heart and soul into this. And the other is Lindsay Powell, who was somebody who had joined our staff. Incredible, talented, but also has a passion to making sure that this new economy is a new economy for everyone. And between the two of them working together with the people around this room, we've been able to put together something pretty special. And in the past, this would have been arguments and fights before council. And today, because of the leadership in this city with the folks that are around me, it was able to be done together as one, for one city. When we started this process, I knew we could find common ground and ensure Pittsburgh's construction industry works for all. Today, I'm proud to sign 2 executive orders as a result of the hard work of the men and women around me. The first outlines a 21st century project labor agreement for city projects. The second solidifies a workforce partnership to establish pipelines to 21st century apprenticeship programs. The PLA applies to construction projects the City of Pittsburgh bids that are over $500,000. An internal committee will be formed to decide if a PLA is applicable. For the first time, all projects that the city bids with a PLA agreement will have a percentage of the work on site for minority workers already on top of our standard MWBE participation goals. The workforce partnership. It's an ongoing committee with representation from all regional workforce partners. The partnership will focus on building paths to union apprenticeship programs that provide free training with high wages and good benefits. There are 9 items which you can read in the executive order, and I will focus on a couple of those highlights. A new workforce development fund will be seeded with $250,000 from the City of Pittsburgh and $100,000 from the Pittsburgh Regional Building Trades. This will help to fund the pipeline for Pittsburgh residents to become union workers. A new certification to ensure all pipelines to construction apprenticeship programs will be standardized. A new one-stop shop web portal where people will have the training or need training, can go and find opportunities to get work. I'll close by saying that success of this partnership means more than just developing a workforce. It's about building pipelines to careers that help end cycles of poverty, getting people back on their feet after paying their debt to society, and righting the wrongs of the past. Success means a check to pay for a home, health care, a car, or even a book for their kid. This is important to me, and I look forward to working with all of you to ensure the task force's work is executed on. I'd like to recognize 2 elected leaders that are here with us today. First, from City Council, Corey O'Connor. Councilman? And Councilman O'Connor will be working with Councilman Lavelle in sponsoring legislation before City Council so that an executive order lasts longer than a mayor. And they will be working to make it city code so that it becomes part of the law within the City of Pittsburgh. And I want to thank both of you, you and Councilman Lavelle, for your willingness to work together on this and to help to guide us through the legislative components of it. And I also want to recognize State Representative Ed Gainey. Since taking office, Representative Gainey has made it very, very clear that the issues that we're dealing with in our lower income communities, whether it is high crime, whether it is affordable housing, whether it is the lack of opportunity to adequate health care, can be addressed by addressing poverty. That we've been dealing around the symptoms instead of trying to solve the problem. And the best way of addressing poverty is to provide people with jobs, to give them the opportunity to have a good job. You want to see crime go down, you want to see housing go up, give people a job and an opportunity to work. Give people that, and you'll start to see changes happen immediately within a community. Representative Gainey has been our leader for the City of Pittsburgh within Harrisburg in helping to get the partnerships that we need to take these programs to the next step. And we're looking forward to working with him on the workforce development component side in order to be even more resources available for city residents to get good paying jobs. So thank you, Representative. And 2 people who have been a part of this that I just wanted to say a couple of words. The one's Philip Amaris, and I've known Philip now very well for the past 6 years. And I know that he represents the best that is in this room, because at the end of the day, what people want is an opportunity for work and to be treated fairly. And that's not much to ask, but it's hard to get. And there's nothing more important to Philip than loyalty. That if you say you're going to do something, you do it. And you put yourself in other person's shoes and you figure out a way to get it done. Sometimes it takes a little while, but at the end of the day, you were there. And Ken, I got to tell you, you've been on this, and I know for 3 or 4 administrations, and without your drive to make sure that it would finally get across the goal line, it probably wouldn't. So I thank you for your persistence in this. Philip, say a couple words.
Oh, I didn't know I was going to be speaking. I just want to thank the mayor. I want to thank Grant, Kenny, and all the union leaders in the room for all the hard work on this. It's going to be a great opportunity for our city. We're looking forward to this project. I know from talking to all the other crafts that our training centers are eagerly waiting to recruit people to work from the different areas. I want to thank Representative Gainey. I know we've dealt with him, the community groups that are here, and just really looking forward to it. Thank you all.
Thank you, folks. Two other elected officials I wish to recognize. First, from Pittsburgh School, Sylvia Wilson. And Sylvia wore several hats on this committee. She not only wore the hat of being an elected leader that serves on Alcosan, she also wore the hat of understanding the workforce development component and how we can start as early as high school or younger within Pittsburgh public schools. But she also wore the hat that she is for many years as a leader of Pittsburgh's labor community, and I want to thank her for the work that she put into this as well. And then finally, DeWitt Walton from our county council. There was a time about 2 years ago when we went through a pretty rough time, and that was after the fatalities that occurred in Minneapolis, in Dallas, and in Baton Rouge. And throughout this country, you could feel racial tensions pulling cities apart. Several African-American elected leaders got together and said, we want a constructive path out of this type of discussion. And they put together an agenda. They went neighborhood by neighborhood and put priorities into 5 key areas. One of those key areas was workforce development, that we don't have the pipelines to the jobs that we need. We know those jobs are there. We know companies are requiring them. We know that Oxford Development's here as well, that we even had the private sector involved in this and everyone understanding it, but we don't have enough programs available. DeWitt, both as an elected member of County Council and as a labor leader with the United Steelworkers and as a leader in workforce development within the city of Pittsburgh, has been able to gap all of those and to provide the bridges between everyone in this room. And I'd ask if you might be able to say a few words about today.
Thank you, Mayor. It is with a distinct amount of pleasure that I stand here as Mayor Peduto and my fellow brothers and sisters from organized labor are able to announce this executive order. Mayor Peduto said something that's absolutely critical. If we want to fix what's wrong in underserved, underrepresented, and previously incarcerated communities, we have to raise per capita income. Raising per capita income will increase home ownership. Increasing home ownership will result in an improved environment for public safety. People that look like me, have dreams like me, and aspirations like me only want a fair shake. It has been with a great deal of pleasure that I've had the opportunity to work with folks like Richie Stanizzo, Bill Watercott, Mike Dunleavy, Kenny Broadbent, Phil Amaris, Bill Brooks. Man, look, I'm gonna end real quick, but I'm saying that these guys have told me what the specs are, and we've met the specs, and we put people to work. We're changing communities, a block at a time, people's lives one at a time. And I'm proud to be part of this, and let's go to work.
So before questions, just one last speaker, and Ken, you helped to get us to this point, and you were patient throughout the process, but also persistent, and it requires both. Leadership requires both a poking with the stick and the ability to reach out the other hand and to hear the other side, and I want to thank you. In the past, we tried to do this, but it broke down along lines of minority participation or union levels. We were finally able to find that common ground, and it was basically because we listened to each other. If you don't mind saying a couple words about where we're at today.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me start with just applauding the guts that the mayor had for seeing that this was a problem and that he could make Pittsburgh better than a lot of cities. I get around the United States, and there's many cities that are copying what the mayor has set up to do here. And it does take time. We worked on this for about 1 3/4 years. But this is good for local people. The in-fashion thing is create jobs for local people, not people from other areas out of state. Let's keep the jobs here. If people are working, as DeWitt said, the whole economy goes up higher, there's less crime, there's more people with jobs, better standard of living, better for the city, better for the county. And with the actions that the mayor and the chief county exec are doing of attracting businesses here, creating jobs, building buildings, that just helps the whole economy. So, Mayor, thank you for working with the building trades, working with the community, setting up a task force. We need to hire local residents. We need to hire more minorities and women, and the building trades are committed to this problem and this program. Thank you, Mayor, for your guts.
Finally, to Darren Kelly and the Allegheny County Labor Council is battles are being fought in Harrisburg and in Washington, as there is an attack that is being launched in a very proactive way against organized labor. Pittsburgh will gladly stand shoulder to shoulder with you, looking for opportunities, for more opportunities to raise the standards, the wages, and the lives of the workers who work here. And as we use those very sacred tax dollars, the ones that people work very, very hard to, we will find ways that it will benefit all Pittsburghers in making sure that they have that opportunity to live the lives that our parents and grandparents fought to create. So although those battles in Harrisburg and Washington may be happening and we're playing a lot of defense, we look forward to working with you to play offense here in Pittsburgh.
My pleasure.
Questions?
Mayor, I want to have a clear understanding of how these minimums and goals compare to what is in place now.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask Grant, if you don't mind handling all the technical questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. And by the way, Grant Gitlin, folks, and like I said, put everybody together.
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Yeah, how do the these new goals and minimums compare to what's in place now?
Yeah, so the number one, and this is new for City of Pittsburgh projects, on individual PLAs in the past, there have been minority utilization goals, on-site hiring goals. There's never been widespread goals for all City of Pittsburgh projects. So for the first time, that number will be 12%, which is huge. And so that's the number one. In terms of PLAs, again, there have been individual ones on projects around the city, but none have included that goal. So that's the main goal that's included in the PLA. And then the workforce partnership has a number of other things to it as well. But,
So you're saying when a big project was announced,
right,
getting going,
Yeah.
you came to an agreement on that project
that's correct.
for minority participation?
That's correct. It was project by project. This is saying for City of Pittsburgh projects, no matter where they are, that the goal will be X, will be 12%. So, and that's the first of its kind. The city's, we've never had that. So
Correct me, is the goal 12% or is the minimum 12%?
the goal is 12%. So, but obviously we hope to far exceed that.
Because then you also make reference to what
18%.
So just to be clear, so the 12% we're talking about are people working on the project. The 18 and 7 is our participation goals. That's for contractors. So when REORC approves one of these construction projects, they will say that 18% of the contract has to be carried out by companies that are diverse, men or minority and women businesses.
So 12% is just people on the work site?
That's correct. That's people. So it's business. It's company representation versus people. So.
Have past PLAs had a goal for people on the work site, and what were those goals, what percentages?
I haven't been involved in a lot of them. I'm not sure if any of the labor folks can speak, but I know, for example, there are agreements for the Lower Hill that have representation goals in those. But
You know what those are?
I don't. Yeah.
Does the city have a sense of what minority representation in aggregate in general in the past has been on major city-managed construction projects?
We do not, but we know that it's far lower. That part of what we are attempting to do here is to raise the bar, and that we believe 12% does that. And so we would guess that this will be a significant advancement of where we've been before. So.
Is there a current project that is working toward this goal?
I'd have to get back to you. So we can. Yeah. Dale.
Of those billions and billions that Mayor Peduto was citing of upcoming construction projects, cited projects from UPMC and other private companies, how many of those are actually city projects that this requirement applies to?
1.1 billion over 10 years.
Can you talk about recruitment-specific strategies to ensure that these goals are met?
Yeah, so the workforce, the two executive orders, the workforce partnership is all about that. So that's why the building trades in the city of Pittsburgh and city council are putting up money toward that. So there's a group of people already working, half or so of which are in this room right now. And the goal of that is number one, to come up with a standard just a standard for the people that are training workers. That sounds like something that should already be done, but there are a lot of different people in the workforce development world. So getting a standard so we all training to get people into the trades is number one. Number two, the website that we talk about, knowing when openings are happening, knowing how quickly you got to get an application in, knowing who the people you need to talk to are. That is part of it as well. Joint marketing effort. Many here probably remember the press release, but 4,000 people came to the Consol Energy Center a couple months ago to look for these jobs, right? And many people in this room are hiring the folks that came to those. So reaching back out to those folks, doing job fairs just like that, that's a part of it. A big part of it is going to Harrisburg, going to D.C. to get new money and to advocate for Governor Wolf's budget, which has $35 million in new money that he's put up to invest in programs just like this. So lobbying together, we all do it separately, but getting that. And then also driver's licenses, a huge part that didn't get mentioned here, especially for the minority community, is making sure that you have the ability to get to a site in Butler County. So we want people, the mayor wants people to work here in the city of Pittsburgh. We want you to be city of Pittsburgh residents, but you're going to have to go to Newcastle, you're going to have to go to Butler. That's just the way it is. So you're going to need a car, and we want to make sure we're not just saying, hey, you don't have a license, you're on your own. We want to be the city of Pittsburgh, building trades want to be there helping you break down any barriers that you have. There are a few other points, like partnering with the Pittsburgh Public Schools. They've been a great ally in this. They have CTE programs that they're running right now that get people into the trades. We want to figure out how we can take that and grow it. So those are all parts that we are working on or hope to work on through this partnership. So it's a serious effort, and there's serious money behind it. And Partner for Work, too, who would have been here today. Yeah, over here. Sorry. Excuse me. I apologize. They're here. They do not overall get enough credit for the amount of money being put into programs, into DeWitt's program, into Community Empowerment Association that's here, Pittsburgh Trade Institute. I'm going to miss one, and I apologize, but all of those groups, they fund right now to the tune of millions of dollars. And so working with them to continue to invest in programs is a big part of it too. But we take, in addition to the goal, we take getting to that goal equally seriously and hope to far exceed it. So.
Can you give some examples of the projects within that 1.1 billion that you mentioned?
Projects that would exceed 500,000, recently completed projects like the Beachview Senior Center, the construction of 2 new divisions for Public Works, the potential redevelopment of 2 police zones, the development of a police fire EMS joint training facility and new command post on campus. We have several field and playground initiatives that will probably be bid out as major contracts instead of being bid out individually, that will also be able to see that. And then the entire retrofit of this building to energy efficiency, which in itself will be probably tens of millions of dollars. But as you look at our capital budget, you'll see that there are many parts that fall under a new facility management plan, where we have fallen behind in the past, where these projects will be a part of making sure. And that doesn't include the road projects, the construction projects that happen within the public right-of-way, the bridges that we'll be redoing, the highway projects. And our goal is to take what we've been able to do here and then apply it to our authority. So something like today, where we start a $13 million project on Smallman Street with PWSA, we would want to see the same agreement in place with PWSA and with the URA and with the Housing Authority, and eventually, too, working in getting this agreement before County Council and county government, and then the county authorities as well. So we wanted to be the first out of the gate to do this, but we don't intend to be the last.
The 500,000, is there something significant about that figure or that threshold?
Yeah.
I went back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah, so we believe that threshold both preserves minority contractor access to contracts, but also, is a high enough threshold that we can, get people in that can help meet, the minority representation goals. And things like that. So there's one program, by the way, I had forgot. The Energy Innovation Center does a great Intro to the Trades program. I'm not sure if Ronnie's still here, but yeah, they should be recognized for their work in this space. So
will individual authorities have to take any action to incorporate this, or are they automatically?
No, we don't have the authority under state law, so it would have to be done by the boards of the authorities. But we've been working, Rick Williams and Valerie, with equal opportunities to standardize a lot of these practices across the board. So this one comes with a ribbon on it. I mean, this one has the language, the research, the law, being able to know that it's implementable, and it can easily be transferred to an authority. So, yeah, just one last thing. Show of hands with those that are involved in organized labor. How many people need people right now? Right now. Right now. Yeah. So hopefully this will help to create not only that opportunity, but also that pipeline.
Yeah, if these goals aren't met, is there any sort of idea that there will be a follow-up procedure to sort of see why that happened?
All right, I'm back. So they've been recognized a little bit, but Chief McDonald Roberts and Rick Williams, who run here. So the goal is for EORC to have oversight over those, to potentially even bring on a staff member and some new technology to help enforce that. But the whole point of the partnership is that there's a commitment here, a public commitment to that the goals will be met and will be enforced. So we will be coming back at that committee to talk about those goals, and again, we hope to exceed them. But there's both on the public side an enforcement arm, but also a group of people working ongoing to make sure that we uphold them. But we believe that the partnership in this room will meet and exceed those without any issue. So.
What would enforcement look like if someone doesn't meet the goal?
So I don't know, Rick, if you want to say a little bit about your processes, but enforcement for, yeah.
And we said, as far as oversight is concerned, we'll be able to kind of review and be able to provide reports to council and also the mayor and this committee in regards to the performance of the various contracts coming through.
Any consequences?
Well, we'll be working on with, to provide information to the city controller in regards to payment. This is something that we would have to work with City Council and also the Mayor's Office and be able to work with and establish legislation to support those barriers and those issues in regards to.
Do you want to say how you've changed EORC to become more proactive of looking at these contracts before they're awarded instead of waiting until they are awarded and being able to provide the contractors having to provide that information?
In the beginning, we're looking at being part of the RFP process, looking at the contract at the procurement stage before it's even awarded, working with the city departments and the different authorities on being able to kind of deal with the kinks in regards to the contract to see if there's minority participation, see where the availability is, and see what the potential utilization is.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Hey, guys, thank you. Appreciate it.